Good morning. It's January 2nd, 2019. Call to order. All three county commissioners are here. And I ask that we rise for a moment of silent meditation and pledge to the flag. I know. We'll do it. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, now, well, that's why we're going to change number 4. You'll understand, because in number 4, we're going to change some things. Okay, number 3 is election of president for calendar year 2019 in accordance with West Virginia Code 7-1-1. And how do we have it?
I'd like to make a motion that Commissioner Bloom remain president for calendar year 2019.
Second the motion.
It's properly moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And thank you very much. And we'll talk later about that. Okay, number 4, this is why we were laughing. Rules of procedures for the management of regular meetings of the Mon County Commission. We have in front of us the actual rules, and when we attended one of the meetings, there was a concern and a question. Does somebody want to discuss that, or?
Renetta, it was
Yeah.
an auditor's training, correct?
Right.
It was the county commissioners training, refresher training
Right.
Yes,
in December.
refresher.
Okay.
November, December.
And the issue was, and again, I don't know if I was present at that training,
The
but
issue was one of an ethics ruling, and the ACLU declared that the point is that we should not ask people to rise for the pledge or a moment. However, we may stand up, and if you choose, the body public chooses to stand up, so be it. But the ACLU has decided that it was not correct that we would ask you to stand up. So we will no longer ask you to stand up, and I think the other one is just simply that
We'll change 2 in number 1,
Yeah.
so we will have the moment of silent meditation first, then the call to order, because then that meets the standards of what the Ethics Commission had stated.
Yes.
So we don't want to cause any problems.
just to clarify,
Yes.
moment of silence, pledge of the
And pledge
flag,
of
and
flag,
then call the meeting.
Then call
Then
it. You
call
can't
to
call
order.
the order,
call the meeting to order.
Yeah,
until.
that cannot be-
That's why we were smiling a little bit here,
because I already messed up. So do I have a motion to just make those 2 changes?
That was the only
Motion
change.
to approve the
Yes.
rules of management for regular meetings.
Second.
Proper moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we'll start that next week. Thank you. Okay. Consents and approval, County Administrator.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
You too. We have no exonerations. We
Wow.
have minutes for December 12th, 19th, and 26th. Vouchers, General County Fund, $122,161.76. Coal Severance, $112.68. Mason-Dixon Park, $390. Assessor's Valuation, $1,584.50. Purchasing Card Vouchers, General County Fund, $3,356.07. Magistrate Court, $46.20. Mason-Dixon Park, $36.06. Assessor's Valuation, $1,235, for a voucher total of $128,922.27. We have one budget revision for law enforcement. There is another one listed on the agenda, but I think we're going to take up that one separately.
Correctly.
Position vacancies for boards and authorities: the Western Board of Zoning Appeals, the Mon County Planning Commission, Development Authority, Building Commission, Camp Muffley and Mason-Dixon Park Advisory Boards, and Mountain Line Transit Authority. Fiduciary orders for January 2nd, 2019. There's a separate objection to the Robert Joseph Konchesky estate. And then also there's, well, why don't we deal with the fiduciary orders and then we'll deal with everything separately.
Okay.
Okay, so move to approve everything except for the
Revisions.
the budget revisions, other than law enforcement, and the objection to the Konchesky case.
Second.
Proper moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
In regards to the budget revisions, we have a number of budget revisions that we're going to need to do. in order to move some money around to make this payment to the public-private partnerships. So we've asked the auditor's office to meet with us, and they're going to meet with us tomorrow. We just want to make sure we're crossing all of our T's and dotting all of our I's, so it'd be prudent of us to have that discussion. The other part of the process is these revisions require a 2-week approval process, and I talked to the auditor over the weekend, and that's why he's sending them up to talk to us on Thursday. We want to discuss with them in the expedited process to get those approved once we make the revisions. So if they have, depending on their guidance that they provide tomorrow, we may need to call a special meeting on Friday to make those revisions and then get them to them so they get them approved in time for next week. So that's why we're holding this one out. So the next item is the objection to the Robert Joseph Konchesky estate.
Yes.
An objection was made because there was an outstanding balance due from the estate. So it was in regards to an insurance bond payment.
$3,770.
Correct. So I would move that we refer this back to the fiduciary commissioner to address this outstanding obligation.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And then we also have statement of services for the fiduciary commissioners, George Armistead and Lynn Crane.
Move for approval.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you. Okay. Introduction of new employees. Sheriff Perry Palmer and Matthew McCullough. Hi, Matt. And Kelly Palmer.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm handing these out.
Okay.
On behalf of Sheriff Palmer, we have for approval the employment of Matt McCullough. Matt comes to us from the banking industry.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to have someone with cash handling and money experience. Starting date would be today, January the 2nd. Position is tax deputy at-will employee. Probationary period is 90 days with full benefits. Monthly salary, $2,375. We did advertise and go through all proper procedures, and he completed a credit and a thorough background check.
Move to approve.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Was it kind of like the recruiting process where they know the new facilities
Oh, yeah.
that you're now, so he saw the
We're
new
wooing
facilities?
new people, yes, with the new offices.
He had to come work here.
He had to come.
Welcome, Matt.
Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
Kayla Taylor Benson, Executive Director, and Christine Christie. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm the director with CASA for Kids. We have a new volunteer coordinator starting, Christine Christie. She has a lot of experience with our CASAs and experience in the county working with different entities, so we're excited to have her on board, and her start date is today, January 2nd.
Move for approval.
Second.
Proper moves in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And thank you for what you do. We look
Welcome.
forward to hearing about your program in about a month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome and thank you.
At this time, we'll have comments from the public. Does anyone have any comments from the public? Seeing none, okay, close comments from the public. We will now have Dave Bruffy, General Manager of the Mountain Line Transit Authority, discuss the new Fit Medical Transport Program, and I think we're going to be very excited to hear what Dave has to say. Thank you for coming on such short notice.
Thank you, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here with good news. You know, we've had a lot of issues since In Touch and Concerned went out of business, basically, and we've had no one in the community really that could provide medical transportation services, particularly for people who have mobility impairments. So what we did was start to put together a program to try and address that need, and then, of course, the big issue with that's finding the funding. We do have a vehicle, we have a driver in place, we've started service opportunities beginning today, and we have a couple of funding sources. The state has helped us identify enough funding to get us started. In addition, I believe we have another funding source, and Commissioner, I'll let you, if you want to
Sure,
explain how that works. Okay.
Okay.
But the real benefit is going to be that we're going to have the opportunity to provide medical transportation trips to people with mobility impairments. It's going to work a little differently than in Touch and Concern service in that Kelly Leneve, our mobility coordinator, and Kelly's here today, Kelly is working with individuals to group trips, working with clinics to group trips, to make these trips as efficient and effective as we possibly can. We want to stretch the funding that we have available, to get as many hours of service and many miles on the road out there as possible. Long term, the good news is that we are going to apply for funding through the Division of Public Transit. They are recommending through the Federal Transit Administration about $80,000 a year if we can find the local match for those funds. So the service moving forward, it's an advance pay online. We'll be able to manage that so that if we have service provide or really social service agencies that want to provide for trips, they can pay individually. Folks will be able to buy their tickets through their smartphone, or they can work with Kelly if they don't have that technology available. And we're excited to get that service started. I don't know if you all may have some questions, because I know you've been involved and interested in the service and the lack of service, really, that's occurred since In Touch and Concerned. I'd be happy to try and answer any of those questions. And I also do have a draft of our program. We're working on that, so I'll share this with you too.
As was mentioned, first of all, I can't say enough about Mountain Line. I mean, you stepped up, and in the back of the room, you have Jeanette Strauser and Kelly LaValle, who we've been meeting for 3 or 4 months when In Touch and Concern went under. And I'll be honest with you, with the support of the county commissioners, they allowed me to represent the county, and I was clearly above my head when getting started, and we had nowhere to go but up. And because of Kelly and Jeanette, we came up with a program that we got in touch with Steve Farmer from the Ruby Foundation. They felt that this was a very important need for our community, and on the last day before December, he called me and said that they were sending, and it's in the mail, that's why I've been waiting for the mail to come, they have sent a $72,000 matching check to go with the program that Kelly came up with. So they believe it's an important part, and I can't say enough about Kelly, Jeanette, and also Dave, who we put on the spot because we had no one else to go to, and you came through, and I think the community needs to understand that Mountain Line came through it, and because of Kelly and Jeanette and United Way, so we really appreciate it. So that is how we got to this stage, and we had said January 2nd was our date. We had bowed out at the end of November, but they allowed me to continue to work with you all, so we came up with this program. I don't know if there's anything that else I can say about it, or if Kelly or Jeanette wants to say. I'm going to let you, because we've been working on this many hours.
Well, and I want to thank the foundation too for
Yes.
that contribution to get us started, get us off the ground, and as we go down the road, we'll be making application to United Way and other folks to keep this service in place. So, thank you all too. If you,
The only comments I have is, obviously, we all have our little projects, and Commissioner Bloom has grabbed this one by the horns and was working through it. So I didn't need to be involved in the details. I know if he's working on it, and David, I know that you're probably one of the most thorough people I've ever met. So I know it's in good hands. And Kelly, you do such a great job. I know it's all in good hands. So I appreciate you addressing this need and acting on it so quickly.
well, thank you. Our big concern long term is just to find that continuing funding,
Right.
so that we can keep it going after this first year. We don't want to end up in the same place a year from now. So,
Correct.
thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. And what's also exciting that I can say is, because Mountain Line's kind of backing it, and Kelly, we're going to try and work with agencies. So, for example, if you have 2 or 3 people that have kidney dialysis needs, we will work with them, so we'll put them all on the same day, rather than having to do it on the individual days. So we're able to work together, and I think with the backing of Dave and Mountain Line, I think that's why we're able to move forward. So again, I'm very, very excited. It's a great way to start the year. Thank you. Colleen Kuhn, do we have any grants? No grants to get here, okay? Correspondence. The first one we have is County Commission year-end report for 2018. Would you like to just hit the highlights rather than, and there's a lot of highlights.
You don't want me to read all 4 pages?
No. And Ben did a great job of the newspaper, and I was very pleased. So if you want to, for the
Okay.
people who don't get the newspaper, we could have it on
Um,
TV.
In addition to your many conferences and trainings and stuff that you've attended over the last year, there's also, regular business items such as the Board of Review, the Board of Assessment Appeals that you've also done, and several proclamations and resolutions in support of different activities and letters of support. A few of the items from January, you had a community leadership forum that was hosted by Mylan Park. The County Commission and Sheriff Palmer met with the other law enforcement agencies in the county to discuss amendments to the Cooperative Processing Transport Agreement. We attended Monongalia County and Preston County Day at the legislature. Let's see here. In February, you approved the $150,000 agreement with the West Virginia Department of Highways for improvements that would further the money used for River Road. We received a very large check from the Division of Highways for unused funds for the replacement of the Hartman Run Bridge that were left over, thankfully. We started meeting as a group with the Circuit Court, Prosecuting Attorney, Sheriff's Office, Magistrate Court to discuss ways to reduce, maybe do some internal procedure changes to reduce the jail bill. In February, we also received notification from the Federal Communications Commission that our joint application to them, the FCC, was approved to allow satellite providers to carry local channels, which was wonderful. We started working on the extension building in February. In March, we had our first presentation with the auditor regarding his initiative, the West Virginia Checkbook Transparency Project. Later in the month, we approved an engagement agreement with OpenGov to participate in the program and create a specific site for Monongalia County. Started working on the budget process. We hired Fitzsimmons Law Firm to start working on defending the county or representing the county in the opioid lawsuits that are nationwide. And we approved the budget for 2018-19. In April, we started meeting with the director of MECA 911 and Mon EMS regarding ambulance service in the county. We started doing design work started in March for the extension building. And then April was the first meeting that we attended that would become the North Central Roads Caucus, and that was held in Preston County. In May, we had the ribbon cutting or the rededication of the courthouse square. The first ever Mon County Invitational was held at the Monongalia County Ballpark, which we provided some support for financially. We hosted our 2018 National County Government Essay Contest winners and attended, the commissioners attended a meeting at Lakeview of the West Virginia Regional Planning and Development Council, where they participated in a discussion on tax increment financing districts. In June, we attended a North Central Roads Caucus meeting held by the Marion County Commission. We had a groundbreaking ceremony for the extension building and 4-H Center, and the commissioners received a visit from the current Miss West Virginia and Miss Teen West Virginia. In July, budget revisions were approved for the general and coal severance funds to account for any carryover monies. Commissioner Bloom and staff attended the 2018 National Association of Counties Annual Conference in Nashville. In August, the commissioners welcomed J.B. McCuskey, state auditor, to help launch the Monongalia County checkbook website. We also attended another North Central Roads Caucus meeting in Preston County. Attended the state auditor's training in Flatwoods. We started working pretty heavily on the county's revisions to the county's website. In September, Commissioner Bloom was appointed by the President of the National Association of Counties to serve on the Healthy Counties Initiative Advisory Board. And Commissioner Secor and staff attended the first Region 6 Broadband Initiative Study Committee at the Region 6 offices in Fairmont. In October, the Commission convened as the Board of Assessment Appeals. We had another Roads Caucus meeting in Harrison County Recreational, at the Harrison County Recreational Center, where we all agreed to pass a resolution for each of the 6 counties that are participating. The commission was asked to participate in the Smile Express floss cutting ceremony by the Mon County Health Department. We participated and facilitated the Mon County Regional Workshop to discuss cooperative and collaborative items with the municipalities in the county. We had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the new track facility at Milan Park. And during the last meeting of October, the commission held a public hearing on the 4 county development districts. In November, Commissioner Bloom and staff attended the Associated Builders and Contractors Annual Awards Banquet to help accept an award from March Weston for their work on the Courthouse Square project. We passed a resolution for the North Central Road Caucus regarding unacceptable conditions of the roads in the West Virginia DOH District 4 area. We were proud to welcome the announcement by Mon Health Systems and WVU Medicine executives, and they have agreed that they agreed to combine their emergency ambulance services to better serve the citizens of Monongalia County. In December, we adopted and signed a resolution in support of the West Virginia Local Economic Development Grant Program to accompany the application prepared by the Monongalia County Development Authority. And the commissioners met with the State Tax Department, the Tax Account Administration Director Matthew Irby, and members of his staff to discuss issues related to the passage of Senate Bill 275 and to explain why the county saw a dramatic decrease in wine and liquor tax distributions in 2013. We had a very eventful year.
Yes, very. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Comment?
Go right ahead.
Thank you very much, Renetta. You did a great job in capturing all that. It was reminding me of some things we didn't even, I forgot about. But a couple things that I'd like to point out that I think regarding this year that I was most proud of is, one is that you mentioned that we went to the ribbon cutting of the Smile Express. Through our funding of that program, we helped make it available. And the work along with the school board agreeing to utilize the Smile Express program. So I think that in itself will make the biggest difference to the young citizens of our county. The ability to get dental care at an early age is a game changer for the kids of Mon County. So, and Commissioner Hawkins can certainly speak to that. Another thing that I'm very proud of is in January, the list mentions, and you captured all this, it mentions that we approved that the sheriff hired 2 more deputies. This year was also the bulk of when we switched over to the lease program and started receiving all the vehicles so that we can have the take-home program, which the sheriff administered. And I think that in itself is a great benefit to the community, having those vehicles out in the community. So I'm very proud of those 2 things. And one other thing that it's in here, but you didn't mention it, was the work that, and Commissioner Hawkins could also speak to this, the work we've been doing on trying to come up with some common sense land use and subdivision regulations and where those stand. And we did a lot of significant work doing this year. So.
Well, right now, those are in the hands of a group that are polishing these to be presented back to us. Then we'll go forward with public hearings again, just to make sure that all the bases are covered before deciding whether or not to accept them. And Smile Express, to me, of course, as a previous practicing dentist, when you see more outreach in the community and further treatment, and at a younger age, you certainly eliminate a lot of problems that, it's always easy to address problems in a short-term way. I remember, when somebody would say, well, why don't you just, I hate to use that word, why don't you just pull it? But, children's treatment is something that is of eminent importance to the community. So I'm looking forward to see what Dan does with this. I know he'll be successful with it.
Thank you. To consider, okay.
Invitation.
Invitation from the Community Coalition for Social Justice for the 13th Annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day Celebration.
It's just a letter inviting the commission to participate January 21st at 2 p.m. at the Met Theater.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other correspondence?
No, sir.
Any unfinished business?
No, sir.
Okay, in new business now. To consider appointments to the West Virginia Route 2 and Interstate 68 Authority and the Pleasant Valley Public Service District.
Last week in correspondence, we covered the letter from Senator Clements, who was previously serving, or he's the director, I believe, for the Route 2 I-68 Authority. He is asking that Joe Statler agreed to be appointed, and I think Commissioner Sikora, you spoke with him, and he has agreed that that's what he, yeah.
Move to approve the appointment of Joe Statler.
I second the motion.
Proper moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
There's
and-
one comment, though. In that
Sure.
letter, they did ask for that we put aside the $3,000 in our budget also
Oh,
to support that program.
Yeah.
So if you just put that on our, in a note for, we'll deal with during budget time.
Okay. And do we have an appointment for the Pleasant Valley Public Service
Yes.
District?
Margaret Batten of Fort Martin Road has requested to be appointed to the vacant position.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Who made the motion?
And
Ed.
I second.
Okay.
We both did at the same
Yeah.
time, so
Okay.
he was quicker.
It's a moot point.
Yeah. Okay, new business now. We will explain, Sean, I will ask Sean Sikora to explain how we're going to do this, but this is to consider repayment of taxes 2015, 16, 17, and 18 tax years for University Park at Evansdale and West Virginia campus housing. So you want to just try and explain it, break
Yeah,
it
and
down.
and to be clear, I'd like to make 3 motions.
Sure.
My first motion would be move that we approve the payment of $2,804,105.87 to UPE and West Virginia Campus Housing. That's the total that goes to both of them. There's breakdowns.
Do I have a second?
For reimbursement of payments made by each entity for tax years 2015, 16, 17, and 18, contingent on receipt of order for tax year 18 from Judge Klotges.
Second the motion.
Okay, is there any discussion or is it?
Yeah, this has been actually since the ruling came down on November 8th, I believe it was. We've been moving pretty quickly to get to this because as soon as we start looking at the amount that we are going to refund, and of course, we've been holding dollars in our contingency fund for this. But then once it was real and we had to start going through and looking at all the amounts, the easiest thing was to figure out the refunds, and that's what this is, the refunds of actual payment and interest made. But this has to do with 2015, which is the case that was reaffirmed, Judge Miller's decision. So that's where that one stands. 2016 and 17, we're parked in the Board of Assessment Appeals, which we did that. In 16, we had actually started entering into memorandums of understanding to forego the payment of these taxes until the 15 case was resolved. Well, into 17, we quickly realized that that wasn't going to work because the other processes that have to occur, the sheriff has to collect the taxes. We couldn't, as a commission, couldn't ask the sheriff not to do his job. So we could no longer enter into memorandums of understanding. So at that time, the taxes had to be collected. We started in negotiations to try to hold the taxes in an escrow so that we wouldn't distribute them and be where we are now, have to give them back. The state auditor's office said we couldn't do that. We have absolutely had to distribute the taxes. So we distributed the taxes with warnings that these dollars could be pulled back and to prepare for that eventuality. So 16 and 17 were parked in the Board of Assessment Appeal. Once the order came through, the Supreme Court order, we had a meeting this morning at 9:30 for those 2 years, and we exonerated those amounts for 2016 and 2017, and we closed both of those Board of Assessment Appeals sine die. So the only thing left is 2018, which is with Judge Klotges. And I understand Judge Klotges has the order. With the holidays, we've experienced a little delay in getting the signed order back. But that, assuming that he signs the order and all this moves forward, we'll be ready to make the full payment. The actual request will be in the vouchers for next week, and we'll approve that sitting in our meeting next week, and a check will be cut that day. So that's in regards to the refund.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it passes.
Okay,
Now, the
s-
second motion.
The second part of this is I move that we approve payment of $219,674.60 to UPE and West Virginia University Park at Evansdale and West Virginia Campus Housing for accrued interest related to payments made by each entity for tax years 2015, 16, 17, and 18. Again, contingent on receipt of order for tax year 2018 from Judge Clodges.
Second the motion?
Any discussion?
This was probably the most complicated part of the equation because there was a lot of things, and I appreciate the work with Kelly Palmer in the tax office, Sheriff. I appreciate everybody's support, the work we've had with our lawyers, the taxpayers' lawyers to try to get to where we're at, and the state auditor's office. But this was really hard to calculate because we had a bunch of different things. Each tax year has a interest rate that is set by code. So we had to deal with that. 2015, the rate was 8%, 16, it was 8%, 17, it was 6.5, and 18, it was 7.25. Some initial questions, is that based off a calendar year, fixed year? Once we knew that, we moved forward. Should non-litigated years get interest? We've had discussions regarding that with our council. Again, this is all uncharted territory. Mon County is dealing with something that never happened in the state. So we've had to kind of find our way through. Should the taxpayers get interest on interest? In the end, we realized that we can have that fight, but if we're accruing $556 a day in additional interest, I think it's silly to prolong a discussion about $2,400 in interest on interest that was paid. And there are both arguments on both sides, but again, the commission was trying to work in good faith, work through all of this to a decision that resolves this in the quickest possible time. And then what we'll have this afternoon is the discussion regarding shared interest. We distributed these dollars with the warning that you may have to pull these dollars back. Now that they're pulled back with an interest. So we have to have that discussion, and that will be part of my third motion.
Okay. Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it passes. And the third motion now, how the payment of the
The third motion is I move that we approve that the commission assume half of the interest share that would be due from the state, the regular school levy, the excess school levy, the school bonds account, and the city of Morgantown, and to assume all of the interest shared that would be due by the mass transit levy, the parks and rec levy, the library levy, and the fire department levy.
Second the motion with discussion. I think that I think this is a fair, today's announcement of the treasury bonds is 2.8%. I know that personally, I look at about a 5% average for my bonds. The state's ruling of 8% might seem to me a little bit high, but the entities that had money could have invested and probably got between 2.8 and 5%. So I feel this is a fair thing to pay half because we have to do something with it. But this is actually, I think, reaching out to take a hard line and demand that all these entities pay this interest. I didn't think is in the best interest of everybody.
And the biggest effective is the school board. They got 3 different pots of money, but when you look at the total dollars of the interest that we're paying back, look at the refund. In regards to the refund, the county only has to pay back 18% of that total $2.8 million. We only owe 18% of that, but we're agreeing to pay back 60% of the interest on that. So we're just trying to put something forward that will not prolong discussion, that will be fair for everyone, and it gets us on a path forward. And when you look at all the entities in regards to the actual interest that they're paying on the dollars back, it's generally under 4% for them, while we're paying 18% we're paying 25% of all the interest that's being paid back. So everybody else is at 4% and we're at 25%. So I do think this is a fair offer. I thank the other commissioners for working through this. I know we had some prolonged discussions regarding this, and everything had to happen quickly during the holiday season. So I think this is a fair offer, and that's why I made it.
I would agree. I believe it's also fair, and as Ed mentioned, they had the money so that they could have invested it. So basically, they're not really paying that much back, and we're paying 50%. So I think it sends a great message from the county. And also, I really like the idea that we are taking leave that we are paying for all the levies, interest.
The interest
And we want that very clear. And again, Dave, I know I had called to give you the negative, so that's the positive part. So I appreciate you being here. With that being said, been properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes. 3-0. Okay, we will have, as stated, a meeting at 1:30 to discuss payments and times and so on with the other entities. Okay.
Yeah, because that's an important point. The
Right.
county is making the full payment to the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Again, we're only responsible for 18% of that, but we're making the full payment to the taxpayers. And we're working with the other entities to pay us back. We've got initial indication that they have the money put aside, so that's what we're talking about, the details this afternoon.
Right. Okay. Consideration of setting scheduled dates for the 2019 Board of Review and Equalization, and we have the form. Did you want me to just read the dates?
It's up to you. Yeah,
Okay,
I
let's
guess that's
just
fine.
read-
It'll be published in a newspaper.
It'll be published, so you can see the dates are all in February. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any other new business?
No, sir.
Okay. Reports from any elected officials? Anything? Okay, seeing none, we're moving. Reports from county commissioners. I think, Sean, it's your turn.
Well, I'll be pretty quick. With the holiday, there wasn't a lot of meetings and stuff. We do have meetings this week. Tomorrow, we have that meeting, as I discussed,
Right.
with the auditor's office. And again, I appreciate the auditor acting so quickly. I called him over the weekend. I texted him over the weekend, and I said, call me next week if you got time. And he called me right back on a Saturday. And then texted me a couple minutes later and said his people will be here tomorrow to meet with us. So I really appreciate him helping, because he's understands that this is a new area that we're working through, and we really do need his office's advice. Then we have the road caucus meeting later tomorrow night. So other than that, our time has been consumed with the working on this repayment schedule, and I appreciate everybody's help. Renetta, again, Kelly, everybody, the commissioners, everybody that helped pull this together quickly, and our lawyers and the taxpayers' lawyers. That's all.
I, as well, don't have many meetings to report, same meetings as what Sean said, but, quite frankly, hearing the year in review, it makes you really willfully look forward to what can happen, in this county in the coming year and the years after. We're on a really great road. I hope that, we stay on this same road and stay on track. Happy New Year.
Again, I want to thank the other commissioners for supporting me, and I think the key is the president's only labeled to run the meeting. I think what we've shown is all three commissioners have our strengths, and we go out and allow the others to go out to represent us. And I think that has been something that we have really changed in the county commission's overall agenda. I do also want to thank that Jeanette's still here, because I did meet during the vacation time with her to, one of the goals for next year, and I know we've discussed, is coming up with a way, and I'm going to use her words, move the pendulum to help the nonprofits and to help our community members. And what we're trying to do is working with your community foundation, the commission, and United Way to come up with a program within a year to have a program where we are going to empower the people that, yes, we have some great programs, but how are we actually moving it from A to B? Because yes, we have the same people needing help, but we need to look at what's causing the problem that's getting to the problem that's here. And I think one of the options we're looking at, and this afternoon I want to show you, is came up with an idea of working better on an application, grant application. So down the road, maybe everyone will be uniform in the application, so we will see what the needs are of the community, and we're able to provide those services for the community. So I'm very excited that that is one of the goals that we've been looking at. We'll be moving forward on that. And I know United Way and several of the other nonprofits, I think we're looking at is collaboration. We have 3 or 4 groups doing the same thing. We need to see how we can put them together and maximize our funds. So with that, I'm very excited. And I want to end with, somebody posted this, and I'd like to end the meeting with this for the year, which is, don't waste your time looking back. You're not going that way. So with that, I asked for.
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Properly moved in second. We are adjourned. Thank you.